It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the New York Liberty's head equipment manager, Ashley Garrison. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work in professional sports?
Sure. I knew I wanted to work in sports after college. I had such a great experience there at NC State, and knowing that I was going to graduate and go into the workforce, I just figured like the players that I was working with, pros was the next step. So I didn't get there right away, but I knew eventually like that's where I wanted to be because obviously, they have the best resources, and if they're better than college, like surely my experience working with them is going to be better than what I had in college, which was fantastic. So that's just what I aspired to. Just figured it was the next general step up.
What was your time like going to NC State and being the student manager for the football team?
Oh, it was fantastic. Like I said, it was a great experience, truly life changing. Like, would not be where I am without it. Um, it kind of showed me the beginning of obviously like working in equipment. And it set a great precedent. I had fantastic coworkers, students all around me. So I'm working in the NFL right now. And then I had great supervisors as well, who also went on to work in the NFL, and some are still there, and others are still in college doing other sports. So it just builds a great network of people, and that I can still lean on to this day.
While at NC State as the football equipment manager, what were some of your accomplishments and what did the day look like?
I wouldn't say I really accomplished anything. Like I was just one of a fantastic crew, and I mean, I guess the team's record was kind of like a reflection of our work. But other than that, I wouldn't say like I won any awards or anything. But day to day was really just being a student manager. Like we were the first ones in, last ones out. Setting up field, for practice, doing laundry, cleaning helmets, checking pads, game day setup, which is setting up the sidelines. Obviously locker room jersey setup and all the greatness that comes with that. But yeah, just regular day. If you've ever worked in football, you know what it's like. But if you don't, it's a lot of work for a little respect.
How was that experience like going to FAU and becoming the equipment intern there?
It was a good experience. It was my first internship out of undergrad. So definitely like the foundation of what I am now. As far as like working professionally, it was kind of like a transition period for me. Outside of being a student, like now I gotta like supervise other students and work with student athletes that are not my peers anymore. So it was definitely a transition period, but certainly gave me so many valuable lessons, and kind of set the precedent. At least I think set the precedent for the type of leader that I am now.
What was that experience like for you to go to William and Mary and become the assistant equipment manager?
That was a another great internship. To this day, I say that Shane Vinarski, the head equipment manager there now, uh, the best boss I've ever had. And I've had some fantastic bosses, but I think Shane was number one just for duration and the way that he supported me throughout my time there, even when I moved on to be full time. But that internship was great as well. Another life lesson uh position that I'm so super thankful to have earned.
Of course, going from William and Mary, what was that experience like going from there to Villanova, where you became the assistant director of equipment?
It was definitely like a little bit of a culture shock. Funny story there, I actually didn't want to leave William and Mary. I literally was just trying to like get interviews so that I can get a raise at William and Mary. And funnily enough, Villanova made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. So I ended up taking that, and like I said, it was definitely a culture shock. Like I ended up working with less teams than what I was actually working with at Villanova. But just like the demand of working from William and Mary, who's They're a pretty small school, not their student population is very focused on athletics, whereas Villanova completely different. They're focused on academics and athletics. Um, and like it just seems like the demand was a little greater than what I was used to at William and Mary. So it was definitely a little bit of a culture shock. And then obviously like going from managing, you know, 20 some odd teams by myself to only having eight, but we had a staff of three to also manage 20 some odd teams. So like it was just different. It was a learning change. But I spent what 3 years there. So I eventually got my footing together, and at one point it was the longest tenured person there. So it all in all it worked out. Loved the
How was
experience.
how was that experience like at Villanova, being in a bigger conference and having more of a equipment room?
Yeah, it was definitely different, but I kind of enjoyed like being able to see my coworkers. Uh, the way it was set up at William and Mary, coming from William and Mary, football was in one building, everybody else was in another. So I really didn't, even though I worked with Shane, I really didn't get to see him too much, just briefly here and there. Whereas at Villanova, I had my coworkers next to me. It was a lot easier to communicate, and if I need to pop in, I could literally just stick my head out the door and we can hash out whatever. And then also having like one centralized equipment room, we had a lot of student managers. So it was easier. I think it was easier to recruit help and get help, and obviously the student managers are the key to any equipment room running successfully. So super thankful for them too. They made the transition easy for me for sure.
What was that transition like for you from going from the college level of equipment to getting into the NBA and working with the Brooklyn Nets?
So I'm thankful that Villanova actually kind of ran their basketball program similar to how NBA is ran, at least the NBA team that I've worked for. Very small sample size there, but I'm very thankful for that. Like there was nothing that I've been asked to do with Brooklyn that I never did at Villanova. So it was actually a pretty easy transition there. Um, and yeah, it's it, if you've been in equipment like there, you've done it all. So there wasn't anything new. It was more so just getting used to the different nuances of how they do things, and obviously learning the new people that are around me.
How was that experience like getting to work with the visiting team that comes to Brooklyn Nets?
It's been great. Obviously, it's just a quick chance to expand my equipment network, and different teams do things differently. So it's interesting learning like why a team will do it this way or versus how another team does it. And so I like picking like the equipment manager's brains and working with them. Players are always like they're characters. I love them. I love seeing the different personalities there too. And obviously the guys that respect the ball kids all the time. You love seeing them too. But otherwise, like it's great. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it for sure.
Of course, what is that feeling like, obviously, during warm-ups, getting to help players that are in the NBA like Duron Sharp and Ben Simmons warm up?
It's cool. You kind of like that like at any second you can kind of screw up somebody's whole routine, and that can ruin up their day. So it's kind of stressful in that way, but for me, like I just know that I gotta carry myself with professionalism at all times, and it's got me this far. So it's worked out.
What are some of your roles with the Brooklyn Nets?
So I don't even know what my official title is, honestly, but I kind of call myself like the assistant to the assistant. So I'm a main team attendant that works practices and games. And like the day to day is it's pretty much everything I do on game day. It's just longer because I do it during the practice day. So I'll help pack for the road. I'll take care of the daily stocking of toiletries or towels or the fridges. Um, Obviously anything that additional support staff need help with, we're there to provide support however they need it. But yeah, inventory, issuing gear, um, there's nothing that I haven't done for them that I know it's kind of like that other duties as a sign. Like whatever they ask for, I'm gonna make it happen with a smile on my face.
Coming to New York Liberty, what was that experience like becoming the head equipment manager?
That was actually like a wild, kind of unexpected offer. So when I was at Villanova, actually, the team got purchased by the Size, who are the current owners. Um, and my GM now, uh, he called, I interviewed for it, and things just in the line. I just didn't feel like it was the right time, so I actually turned him down. And then another year happened. I think whoever they hired went on somewhere else, and like the opening came up again. And my boss with the Nets, Joe Como, he really went to bat for me. He's really the reason why I'm here, keeping it a buck. Um, I'm so thankful for his support, and he really pushed it. And hey, I got this great girl in mind. Like she'd be perfect for it. She's ready to come up. We're gonna make it happen. And I actually got set up with the role that I'm in now is a hybrid role, so I get to work with both teams without sacrificing one or the other. And it's a great setup. I love it. And like I said, wouldn't be here without Joe.
What was that feeling like when you became the head equipment manager?
It was fantastic. It was kind of like that validation. Like I knew when I graduated in 2014, that pros is what I'm aiming for, and I'm gonna do what I got to do to put myself in that position eventually, so that when that opportunity comes, I'm ready to take it. And when it actually happened, it was fantastic. I'm super proud of myself. I still am super proud. Like it's still ridiculous to think about as I sit here in this office in Barclays Center, as they're setting up for a concert. Like it's still wild that I am here doing exactly what I said I was gonna do, uh, almost 10 years ago now.
As a head equipment manager for the New York Liberties, what does a day in the life look like for you?
Typical day, I'll come in around 8. If it's a game day, I probably won't leave until like midnight, on a good day. Um, If it's a practice day, like I'll probably get around here 5. But yeah, I'll come in, I'll set up for whatever it is, whether it's shoot around or practice. Um, we'll offer breakfast. Players will come in for treatments, and so I just do like a walk around. Like I'll just check in with every player. Hey, you good? You need anything? At that time, they'll ask for a pair of socks, or hey, can I get a new arm sleeve, or whatever the case may be. And I'll take care of those small things there. Then we go out to practice or shoot around or whatever the case. And um, same thing. I'm just around for any needs that pop up. I'll help out with the clock and coach a script, just keep track of that, and let other parties like our PR guy, our GMs, keep them on pace with where we're at in the script. And then afterwards we go back to the locker room, do some more checking in, anything else you need. We'll collect loops, get those washed, start washing towels. A lot of washing, a lot of folding, drying, all that. And then we clean up and set up for the next day to get ready to do it all over again.
What does a typical home game look like for Liberty at Barclays Center?
So tomorrow, fantastic. We're gonna come in, like I said, about 8. We'll do our shoot around, normal walkthrough stuff. Afterwards, the players will leave. I do not live anywhere near Barclays Center, so I'm gonna stay here all day. Players will come in about 3 hours before game time. We'll have a pregame. In that break between shoot around and when they come back, I'm setting up the locker room. I'm checking visitors' locker room. They'll probably come in for a shoot around, so I'm attending to them as well, see if they need any laundry. Whatever coach's little quirks are. Does she want a diet soda? Coach wants an additional room, we'll give them that. Just being around just to provide that good hospitality, the same hospitality we would want while we're on the road. Um, and then locker room setup, depending on the jersey, depends on uh the loop color that I'll put out, depends on the jersey that we're wearing. So tomorrow we're wearing our Rebel, the kind of seafoam, the black ombre. It's gonna be fantastic. I'll probably do white loops depending on what the players want. Well, I'll ask them that tomorrow during shoot around. And then we just set up, make it look nice and pretty, clean up, make sure shoes are back in the locker rooms, everything's dried off in their locker, and keep it moving. Then they come back, get ready to play a game and try to get a dub.
Of course, as a head equipment manager, what is it like obviously getting to set up the lockers and having the jerseys hung for players like Sabrina Ionescu?
It's all right. It's kind of like it's kind of like one of those like surreal moments. Like, yo, I get to watch literally the best players in the world every single day. Brianna Stewart's fantastic person. Sabrina Ionescu, a fantastic person. This team, we got what 11 on this team, and all of them are the best at something, and that's why they're on this team. So it's fantastic. It's kind of like a oh my gosh, like I used to be at home watching you, and now I get to work with you. Know you on a one-on-one basis. So it's cool. It's fantastic.
As a head equipment manager, what is that like? Obviously, working with players like Sabrina Nescu and Brianna Stewart, and do they have any routines that they need like to have set up their jerseys?
Uh, like I said, they're both great people, very low maintenance. They both got like a signature shoe. So the most I'll do for them, as far as like high demands or anything, is just like making sure they're wearing the right shoe for the right game as their brands are requesting. But like both of them are on their stuff. Like I really don't have to do anything but make sure it's there ready for them to go. Uh, now, any routines? I know last year Sab was kind of like very superstitious about her knee pads. So even though it had a hole in it and I wanted to replace it, she wouldn't let me because she was having like a string of good games. So a lot of the media you'll see from last year, she's got a hole in her knee pad and it kills me to this day. But she likes it, I love it, so I wasn't gonna get in the way of that. This year we haven't really had too many things. We've actually made like a lot of changes game to game, between both of them actually. So it's just what they're feeling in the day, and I'm gonna make it happen.
As an equipment manager, is there any player that has a particular request and routines and rituals?
I want to say any one player. We have, like this year it kind of fluctuates game to game. I'm not sure why it is. Travel, sleep, just the temperature outside. I'm not sure, but for the most part, I will say we at least do a coffee run every game. Who's getting the coffee and what they're ordering changes day to day, but we'll always do a coffee run. We have coffee offered in our lounge here. Um, Other than that, no, it hasn't been any one thing every game. Like I mean, obviously people will wear like the same thing. Like I know Steph Dolson is always gonna wear three-quarter tights. I don't need to worry about anything else with her. I know Kayla Thornton is always gonna wear McDavid padded sleeves and knee pads, so I make sure she has that and I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, this team has been fairly consistent throughout the course of the season. So makes my job super easy.
Of course, as an equipment manager, what does a home game setup look like for the locker room versus away setup look like?
Um, for us at this level, uh, the biggest thing is just size. Like here, in our home locker room, we've got plenty of space for everybody. Pretty much everybody will have their own locker, and you've got a space to the side of you. You got a space, on either side of you, excuse me. So you really don't have to worry about bumping into anybody, or you could throw your stuff on the ground, and it's not going to get mixed up with anybody else's. On the road, we have to work with a smaller space sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we have to work with a smaller space. And so I kind of have to put people next to each other, and it can get a little cramped. But they end up working there. Like it doesn't matter if I put them in the locker and they don't want to sit there, they're not going to sit there. They're going to go sit wherever they feel like they can get the most space. So, um, again, we got a great group of individuals, so they know what our setup is and our circumstances are, especially as we're traveling. So they work with each other, figure it out, and we never really have any issues, or we haven't yet. Knock on wood. Ooh, excuse me.
What are some of your roles and responsibility as the head equipment manager for the Liberty?
Like I said, for the most part, I just handle all the apparel. I handle all the gear issuing, setup for game days, whether it's for our team or visitors. Any jerseys that need to be made, giveaways, or for in-game wear comes through me. Gifting for like players, when brands send stuff. For the most part, I'll have a little hand in setting that up and getting it out. Um, Yeah, I mean, anything that has to do with equipment, apparel, uh, like for court setup, whether it's balls or pads, anything we need out there, that'll come through me. And then kind of just like a catch-all. Like if there's any other issues, like even if I'm not the one that solves it, I probably know who can, so I'll, do what I have to get that done.
As a head equipment manager, what is that feeling like getting to see the teal jerseys being laid out before the players come in?
Like I'm just kind of proud, like especially knowing like if it's a jersey that I made. Most of them we get outsourced to our fantastic tailor here in Rutherford, Barry Barone. If you're in the area, that's my guy. But there are some times where like just our schedules won't align and I just need a quick turnaround. So if I know that I made that jersey and it's going up, like I'm extremely proud. I love seeing it. Especially like in the middle of a game and they make a great play. I know I'm gonna see that clip on TV. It's like, hey, that's my jersey. But otherwise, another day, another dollar.
What are some of your favorite memories and moments as a head equipment manager for the Liberty?
Ooh. Uh I've had some good wins. So my first year was actually the bubble year. I didn't go down to the bubble, so I kind of don't count that. So like my first year that the team was in the market, playing at Barclays, uh, like we started the season really well, like better than what anybody expected. In the bubble, we won 2 games, and so the energy that was around us when we started, I think we started 5-1. That was fantastic. Last year we needed literally the last regular season game. We needed to win so that we can get in the playoffs. The energy in Barclays was fantastic. We pushed. I think Chicago the defending champions? I believe they were. We pushed the defending champs to a decisive game 3 in the first round. That energy was electric, even though we didn't win, but it was just still an amazing moment to be a part of. And then this season, I'm not sure if you saw, but we had a very, very good win against this year's defending champs, the Las Vegas Aces, on Sunday. And that, wow, to see that, to be in that locker room after the game, man, I'm just thankful to be here. Love my job.
What are some of the things that you learn now that you didn't know before becoming a head equipment manager?
Ooh, that's a great question. I really don't know if there's any one thing. I have kind of like learned, uh, I've been exposed to more, as far as like all that goes into a professional organization. There's so many moving parts. Um, and I thought like college athletic departments were big, but does not compare to a pro team, or at least not this one. And so like just being like knowledgeable of the different setups that keeps this thing running is kind of remarkable to think about. But that would be the biggest difference.
What would you tell your younger self that is a equipment manager at NC State looking back on your career now in the WNBA for the Liberty?
Ooh, I tell myself like get started sooner. I definitely put myself in a hole once I graduated. I didn't think about equipment as a career until 2 months before I graduated. Now, mind you, my supervisor country at the time, gosh, I'm gonna stop hitting my desk. My supervisor country at the time, he had put the bug in my head from day one. Like, hey, I think you're really great at this. I think you would enjoy this as a career. Check out this website, AMEA. Like, give it a thought. And I do one thing, and I was gonna stick to it. And obviously, I changed my mind. When I look back over the best parts of my undergrad career, it was like being a football manager was the best part, hands down. So that's when I decided I should probably do this as a full-time career. Um, Still don't know how it happened, but it happened. I'm here now. I'm thankful for that. But if I could go back and tell myself something in 2010, like, hey, seriously think about this. I know you're doing it for fun now and just to be able to like rock some cool gear that only the athletes have, but seriously, think about it now and maybe I would have done some more internships or took my networking seriously.
What are some of your future plans as the head equipment manager for the New York Liberty?
I want to get to a point where we are the hands down best organization in the league, and I want to be a big part of that. I want to be able to say like no players have any issues. Like I'm thinking about their needs way before they even need them, and I'm taking action on that so that they don't even have to ask me for anything. That's the level of care, the level of service that I want to get to. I want other teams in the league to be able to say, hey, I know when we go to Brooklyn, we're going to be taken care of. Ash got our back. We're not going to want for anything. Everything's going to be set up. So definitely room for improvement, but that's where I want to be.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to become equipment managers on the college level?
I would definitely say like it sounds cliche, but networking. It's all about networking. Not all about, but it's a big chunk of advancing and getting your foot in the door. And I highly suggest joining the AMEA, Athletic Equipment Managers Association. Um, if you're a student now, they have great student rates. Um, like get in, learn what you can. The sooner you get certified, the more money you can get later down the line. Like it's gonna be a difference maker. Um, and be intentional. Like I tell kids all the time, like don't take a marketing job if you know that you want to be an equipment manager. Like sure, you got to pay the bills, do what you got to do, but if you can get that equipment job, or if you can like at least get your foot in the door, like maybe on a part-time level, like do that, man. Like don't just take something like, oh, I'll do this marketing thing, I'll do this ticket thing, and then maybe I'll meet the equipment manager. No, just be intentional. If equipment is what you want, go for equipment. Do what you got to do to get there.
What advice would you give those college equipment managers looking to make that jump to being professional equipment managers for a professional team?
Uh, yeah, same thing. Like networking, definitely make sure you're finding yourself in the room with other professional managers. Um, and then I would also talk to your admin. I was thankful enough to be at Villanova when I first started working with the Nets. And I started in a part-time role first, and it was only with their permission and their blessing. Like, they were fully supportive of me going off and driving up to New York every other day. So talk to your admin. If they're serious about your growth and your career goals and pushing you to wherever you want to be, then hopefully they support you and you can find a way to make that happen.
What advice would you give people that are looking to become professional equipment managers and become head equipment managers for a team like the New York Liberties or a WNBA team?
Um, Especially in the professional basketball level, I would say try to find a way on that part-time staff if you can. If you don't know the guy that's running it directly, try to make connections with the guy that is, or the guy that does know, the guy that's making the calls. Um, Luckily for me, like LinkedIn just really clicked for me, and here I am. So networking. I'm gonna say that till the cows come home. Like I wouldn't be here if I didn't, just reach out on a limb and try to talk to somebody that was in the pros.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
I'm on Instagram for the most part. I have a Twitter page. I don't use it as much as I should. I say that's my New Year's resolution every year. I ain't carried it up yet. But on both pages, I'm at AJINEQ. So that's at AJNEQ. You can find me there. I'd love to follow.
Thank you again, Ashley Garson, for your interview and best luck in your future as the New York Liberties head equipment manager.
No problem. Appreciate your time, Brandon.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Ashley, for your interview and best luck in your future.
Appreciate you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.